Good morning from the office. I'm your host, BKP, and if you see our background this morning, it's the beautiful, lovely downtown Ellijay, city of Ellijay, right behind us. And I have with me this morning, Georgia 9th District, Congressional District, Congressman Doug Collins. Congressman Collins, thank you for being here this morning.
Always glad to be here, Ron.
You're going to spend the whole day in Ellijay for the most part.
For the most part, yeah.
For the most part, going to visit some areas, and we have an exciting thing. Our Playhouse, our Gilmer Playhouse, has they've been trying to get their theater done for years, and that is going to happen today. We're going to have a ribbon cutting, and you're going to be our guest speaker over there today.
Yeah, for the chamber. I'm looking forward to that. It's gonna be
Look
good.
forward to that. Okay, let's dive right in.
Let's do it.
Resistance Summer. Town Hall, you had a town hall last night. The police officer there, as I was leaving, said 236. And he said that was the max, and that's all they could let in.
Right.
And I know there's some people that were outside, and if you were outside, due to public safety, that's all they let in. So was it what you expected? Did you expect some of the outburst, some of the comments?
We did. I mean, it's something that we've noticed, especially in this district in the last, since the election last year. I think really what happened, for the most part, especially in a very conservative district like this is, for the most part, those are opportunities. For the previous 4 years, most folks who had a more liberal perspective of life had President Obama, and there was not as much interaction or needed it for they felt like for their congressional base, except in debates and around election time. And I think what's happened since then is that with the election of Donald Trump as president, is a new conservative direction going forward, and things that they don't like. And people come forward at town halls to express that. I think what we saw last night was an expression. I wish there could have been more dialogue in the sense, because as I said last night, just simply yelling doesn't get a point across on either side, whether it be conservative or liberal. If you have an honest dialogue about things, you may find areas where you agree or areas where you disagree, but you can at least do so in a respectful tone. And I think for what we had last night was not something we didn't expect. It was, in fact, I thought it was good. As I said toward the end of the debate last night, this is the very freedoms that I stand for in serving in the United States Air Force, the things that I, took oaths to defend the Constitution. I respect anybody who comes out, whether they agree with me or disagree with me. I was just happy that they came last night.
Well, one of the way it was set up is you took, everybody had an opportunity to put a question.
Yes.
Into a bucket, and you randomly pulled questions out, and it seemed like a lot of people that showed up wanted to talk about the ACA and health care.
Yes.
When we get back, will health care, is it over? Or are you concerned with the Senate saying maybe it's time to start work together with the Democrats to see what repairs can be made? Where do we stand on healthcare, seriously?
Well, I think it's something is really in a little bit of a limbo state right now. It's still active. It still can be taken up. I think the Senate, unfortunately, and I tried to explain this last night, Brian, and for listeners and viewers today, I want them to understand what happened when the 3 Republicans voted no the other day. It was not to kill a bill necessarily. To me, in my mind, it was to kill a process, because what they did is they stopped the process from going forward. I was very disappointed that the Senate didn't take up the House bill. We had spent a long time on that House bill. We've even had pulled it once from the floor ourselves, and then came back and passed it with 218 votes. I think they didn't even take up part of that. They tried to rewrite their own bill, which didn't go anywhere. And then at the end of the day, they were going to pass a very cut down version that they were looking at that would get us to a conference committee. Now, a conference committee would actually be members of the House and the Senate, both Republicans and Democrats, if the Democrats wanted to participate, to finalize the bill, take our bill, take other bills, and come up with a continued work on health care. Because the Obamacare is broken. Most of the counties in Georgia next year will have one provider under the federal exchange. That's it. And those increases this past year have averaged over 20% increases in average premium price. For a lot of even the concerns last night that people were talking about, they can't afford. Well, they can't afford because the issues of competition and the issues of who's actually buying the health care is causing premiums to rise. We're not seeing any competition, and we're also seeing doctors and providers not willing to take the insurance. So from my perspective, I think it's still open. We still need to address health care. It's been something that I ran on. It's been something that folks who've even been there a term longer than me have ran on for 7 or 8 years now. It's not something that's sustainable. It's a death spiral. Obamacare is in a death spiral and will continue that way. And simply patching that is not a viable answer. And I think we saw a lot of concern both ways last
When
night.
you say patching it, let me ask a question. Let me ask a question this way, like one of your opponents last night, because last night there were actually some good questions that people put in the bucket, but they didn't want to hear the answer. That's my opinion. They were not here to get an answer. So I want an answer to this. Some of your opponents last night, the ACA, why not work to fix it? Can it be fixed? Why not work to fix it? Why not work to modify the things that after 7 years that have failed to repair it? Why not?
Well, I think one of the things is, for me, and I'm trying to find a good analogy for this, Brian. I think I'm trying to, because we talk about it being broken and we talk about it not working, and just the evidences point that out. I mean, from the rising premiums, the providers that are leaving networks, Iowa, many others the state of Iowa basically will have no insurance providers in the exchange market next year. You've got issues of cost. You've got all these kind of issues. So my only question is, say, to fix something like that, it would almost be like going back and you've got a computer sitting here that's is good of state of the art as you can get right now. But imagine trying to put this computer into one of the old Commodore 64s. It was a good computer when they may have had a good idea, but you can't you can't fix it to make it work anymore. The Obamacare system is completely broken. It started breaking down right after it was passed, when they started removing long-term health these costs, the revenue that was to be generated. When you start moving your revenue away, you still had costs coming in. This has been imploding on itself for a long time. So it's really hard to say if you're just going to put the cost share, the risk reduction pool, giving the insurance companies money to continue to provide subsidies, is only simply patching in a very short-term fix what is long-term happening. We've had these share payments have been going in for the last few years, and we're still seeing insurers drop out. We're still seeing premiums go up. So I think just simply to say if we put a little bit of money to it is not the right answer.
So you still contend that it needs repealed.
Yes.
It needs repealed.
Yes.
I mean, and then we need to go back. Let me tell you something now. Me, I don't want to say my blood boils, but every time I hear the acronym CSR payments, that just sets me off. Cost sharing reduction payments. They bother me. Now, there's not enough talk out there that the 4th Federal District Court said, and that's a liberal court, that those payments are illegal.
And that was based off of the House.
Right, based off that, the House sued.
Yes.
Right, the
Exactly.
House sued and said, we did not allocate the money.
Exactly.
Okay, so the 4th District said, you're right, you didn't, and that's against law. You really can't make those payments.
Right.
For me, when it comes to when we hear that Republicans or the House or the Senate, that you can't repeal and replace it because you're too beholden to insurance companies, too beholden to the prescription drug companies. What say you, like, on these cost-sharing reduction payments?
Well, that's the whole issue of what they're wanting to do right now is patching it. This is what you're hearing a lot of. This is also what the president has talked about stopping the payment. This is what's left the markets a little bit in limbo. Because if those, again, they were never supposed to be done the way that they were doing. The Obama administration had just done it completely wrong and illegally to start with, and that's why the lawsuit came about. And they said, no, this has to be an appropriated process. Here's what's being done now. They're saying they're using the CSR, they're using those cost share reduction issues to give the patch, if you would,
Right.
to basically keep Obamacare alive in whatever current form it is right now. This is what is concerning for many of us, and I said last night in the town hall, and I've said it in other interviews. If it was brought back to the House to simply pass a bill that would now authorize these payments or say this, and we've got some members in the House that would like to see this, they're in different districts. I don't think there's the votes to have that in the House. In fact, I think that would fail, because simply what you're doing then is you're not only patching it in probably a very bad way, you're continuing a program that all of us realize is fundamentally flawed. Because, past the cost share reductions, you're not getting into the Medicaid expansion. You're not getting into the real cost drivers that have caused not only our spending, our deficit and debt issues, but you're also still looking at a system that was expanded in many states
that for people, able-bodied adults, that should be able to get insurance, accessible and affordable insurance outside of Medicaid, which was designed for age disabled and blind and poor. That's what that program was started for. And when we saw states in Ohio and New York and other places where they expanded their Medicaid pool, what they did is basically punished the age blind disabled community to add able-bodied adults at a 90% match share from the federal government, as opposed to the 60 or 65% match share that states normally get for the very groups that they're supposed to help. So for me personally, that's just a non-starter, is to come back and just say, well, let's just keep putting money into this because we can't fix it. No, maybe it's time we do our job and actually get a handle on this, and we go back and look at what we can do with healthcare. That's why I voted for, I was asked yesterday, it was at another event, I did really 3 open town halls yesterday. One was at a senior community, had about 100 and something folks there, another one at a business, and then the open one last night. And before I entered the first meeting yesterday, a lady came up to me and said that she was mad at me, and I'm sort of, in public life, you're sort of used to that. She came in and she said, I'm mad. She said, did you vote for this? You voted for this healthcare bill in the House. I said, yes, ma'am, I did, and I do it again. And she said, I just don't. She said, that's terrible, and she was going to work against me and everything else. And I said, ma'am, that's fine. I said, but it's a broken system. You can't continue the system like it is. It's already failing people. Why would you want to continue to inflict pain on people? And I think that's the fundamental question a lot of us have got to ask now, Republicans and Democrats.
I'm going to ask you this, because when I say you leave Washington, D.C., I mean, we're here in LJ, Georgia. We're here what I call rural America. And when you leave Washington, D.C., there's a thought that sometimes you have elitist, and you hear these comments, and switching over to Mitch McConnell, I just want to use the comment, President Donald Trump had excessive expectations. Now, I hope he would think he would like to roll that back, but excessive expectations of what could be done. But you yourself, could you tell our audience how many bills the House has passed, how many bills the House has set on, how many bills were ready to go when the president took office? I mean, there were so many bills ready to go to the Senate, over to the White House, correct?
Oh, Brian, the very first bill that was actually voted on the roll was my bill. It was the RAINS Act. The president campaigned on it. It's been part of our group for the Republican policy now for like the last 4 Congresses. We passed this bill. It has been sitting in the Senate since the first week of January. Now, in the Senate, they have the 60-vote rule, they have the cloture issue, so they say, well, we can't get 60 votes. Well, they've not even had the opportunity to get it to the floor. It did pass out of committee, which is the first time we've had it pass out of committee. But the Senate is just basically deluged itself in just an avalanche of obstruction. Okay, and this is what's happened. This is why I made this point last night. We've had a lot of bills. There's 200 plus bills passed in the House that are sitting in the Senate, ranging from everything from health care, or a complete overhaul repeal of Dodd-Frank and the CFPB, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, which is huge in areas like LJ and Gilmer County and Fannin County, Union County, Pickens County, where you have community banks of the lifeblood, the very thing that keeps businesses going. This was something that just strangled those banks. Instead of making banks too big to fail, it said you're never going to fail because we're going to subsidize you. Our bill actually said there'll be no government bailouts of big banks. If they fail, they go through bankruptcy procedures instead of this idea of what happened, a little over 10 years ago. This is the kind of stuff that we passed and sent to the Senate. Now, they may want to move slow, they may want to have their own hearings, that's fine, but do something. And that's the struggle that we're having in the House.
Well, I'm going to ask you directly. Do you think, and forget anybody else out there, do you think that President Donald Trump has excessive expectations?
No, I think he has expectations for us to do something. And I think that is there are procedures and there are processes on the Hill that are different than business, and you have to work through those. But I don't think at the end of the day any of his expectations or my expectations are that we would be sitting in August with what was a failure in the Senate on health care and just getting to tax reform in the fall. But it goes back to something also, this is a Republican issue as well. We're now in a position where we, especially in the House, we're looking at our next budget process, which a budget process simply provides the framework for how we can move forward, but also puts reconciliation, which is the 50-vote threshold in the Senate, takes away the 60-vote need, on tax reform. But right now, we've got some of our own members who would like to see more put in the budget or less put in the budget, because they don't want to vote to get 218 to get that budget to the Senate. Unless we do that, we'll not have the reconciliation vehicle to actually pass tax reform. This is what I believe is frustrating not only for the president, it's frustrating for us, is to say, we cannot let the perfect be the enemy of the good. We have got to move forward on our conservative principles and values that we were on.
Congressman, what do you think yourself, what do you think coming home on recess and having to face your constituents, and I've seen the group last night, and on the other side, the Republican side, there's a feeling of, I say this because I don't want to sound directly personal to you, but there's a feeling of, you guys didn't get anything done, and that's on, you guys are feeling some heat on, I guess, the Republican side, the conservative side, saying, we thought these things would be on the president's desk by now. What did you come home thinking that in this last session you would have been able, as Congress, to have on the president's desk? Tax reform, health care. How many things did you hope to have on his desk to sign?
Healthcare would have been the biggest. I was hoping to have healthcare done, even if we stayed in, longer, or whatever. I was hoping to have the Senate would have worked, and really when we sent it over to them, and we started seeing some inclination toward the end of June that the Senate was moving, there was a lot of hope that we could at least get a bill to conference and we could begin, the negotiation process for whatever. I think that's one of the biggest issues. Look, some of the other issues, as long as the Senate is held forth in their 60-vote motion to proceed or close the vote, as long as we're allowing that to continue on every bill, except for nominations for judicial and others, then there's simply going to be things that the House can pass, the Senate cannot. Okay, that's just a fact. Too many times, I will say this, I think both House members and senators have went home, and especially senators, have made promises and said, I'm going to do X, when they really knew in all reality they'd never get 60 votes, so they would never vote on it. Until they actually address that kind of issue, that's a problem either to explain to the American people, we're not going to change our rules in the Senate. So, when it comes to spending bills, when it comes to continuing resolutions or anything like that, we're going to have at least 8 Democrats vote with us to continue the debate, which means that for those 8 votes, they're going to want to have input into the process. That's just an honest fact of how the Senate has to operate. The House, in and of itself, we can pass bills if we keep our own folks together, and we can lose even some of our folks. We can get to 218 without any Democrat support, and we can pass things that are, frankly, from my district's perspective, much more conservative and the things that we'd like to see. But there has to be an honest discussion with voters on both sides, and Republicans especially, that until the Senate either decides to address this issue or they just make it very clear that when it comes to these issues here, we're not changing the 60-vote threshold. We're going to have to work with Democrats on this, which gives Chuck Schumer and his group input into the process. Then that's a problem we've got to face.
Well, if the 60 vote, myself personally, I don't see anything getting to the president's desk if we stay with the 60 vote. We can't get 48 right now.
I think it could. I would disagree in this part. I think your bigger issues would still have an issue. We saw 3 Republicans not act like Republicans the other day. Okay, and they have their own reasons for that. That's something they got to answer to their own voters for. We also saw 7 Republicans earlier in the week vote no on repeal when they passed basically the same thing just a year and a half earlier when it didn't matter. That's a concern. They've got to answer to their voters for that. But at a certain point in time, the REINS Act, when you start looking at just normal legislation, you start looking at Dodd-Frank repeal, which could be close, but I think we could get 50 plus votes on a compromise bill between the House and Senate. You look at REINS Act, you look at just the numerous bills that we have passed through the House on partisan votes that could get 52 votes but couldn't get 60 votes. Those things could be hitting the president's desk. And I think that's where you've got to, we get so tied up in the big votes, the health care, what are you going to call health care, tax reform, immigration, the things that just dominate the headlines. I said, but there are so many things, just like in your business. If this was all you did in your business and you didn't go out and solicit advertisers, you didn't go out and do the basics, you wouldn't have this opportunity. And I think so many times people will forget that in Washington, it's about the issues of Corps of Engineers, about rural broadband. It's about moving legislation through that deals with criminal justice reform. It also moves in how do we deal with intellectual property. Those kind of things that matter to business. They may not be sexy headlines, but they matter in getting people back to work, getting jobs over, removing regulatory burden. We've removed, this president has signed and been a factor in 14 congressional review acts, which rolled back between $3 and $8 billion of regulatory costs. That's one of the reasons why the stock market is doing so well. This president is providing leadership. We're not always going to agree on everything, but I agree with this president. We need to move forward. We need to have a strong presence overseas. So I think if you want to focus on the big things, yeah, you can say these are getting stuck and there's nothing happening. But we also have to focus on what I think it would make a difference in, is getting the meat and potatoes done. Let's get the spending bills done. Let's get our bills that we've talked about reforming the banking system. Let's get those things to his desk, and then you're going to see an uptick in this economy like you've never seen.
Congressman, let's switch gears. We got a couple more topics. We got about 10 minutes left here, and I got a couple more topics I want to get through. House investigations. We have House investigations, Senate investigations. We have special counsel. We got FBI. When I say out here, because Washington, D.C., the Beltway, out here, we kind of think some of this Russia stuff is just absolutely ridiculous. When we sit and we study, and when I say some of my friends here in the area, and we talk and study, and we actually see tangible evidence of a meeting on a tarmac in Arizona, and we actually see tangible evidence in emails, and we actually see tangible emails and collusion with countries, the Clinton Foundation. Just the list is too big. We don't have the time. We actually see that, and it's like everybody passed that train wreck to get to something that we're trying to find a crime. I don't know. We're lost. I'm lost out here. Why do we have to keep going with this investigation? What's going on here?
Well, I think the biggest thing is, and I think I think because looking at everything that's been done and everything that's been said so far, and everything, and even some now we're even seeing liberal writers in the New York Times and others saying this is leading to a dead end. And we've actually started seeing some of this. Remember, this goes back to what you saw last night, and I think you made a comment about folks that they were, as they were doing their staged leaving last night, they were just yelling "resist."
Yes.
Well, it's not become a matter of ideas. Just resist. We just resist for resist's sake. I'll go back to something with the investigation. If there's nothing there, and I believe the president when he says, and I believe there's an investigation. I believe that when the House and the Senate and Mueller comes through, they'll be finished, and he will be able to move on with his presidency. Let's get it done. But I do agree, and that's why I signed the letter with my fellow judiciary members in the House, if we're going to do this, let's have a special investigator, because when Comey says that Lynch actually told him to change the wording of how he was looking into the email issue, and this is the kind of stuff that we talk about. I would encourage everybody to go back and look at my YouTube page. When I had Loretta Lynch under testimony last year, when I had James Comey under testimony last year, when you hit them hard, we've got to continue that. So I think what happens, why did they pass it? Democrats didn't want to acknowledge it was happening. We had a Justice Department that frankly ignored anything going on in their department. You couldn't get anything through. We would find people in contempt, and they wouldn't enforce the contempt. It shows the difference also though in a Republican administration. A Republican administration believes in the rule of law. Now, whether the prosecutor should have been handled or not, I think that's an issue that now has been done. Jeff Sessions made that, and we'll go from there when he recused himself. The House and Senate are doing their normal oversight. But I believe we're also too focused because they don't want to deal with real issues. Democrats don't want to deal with the issues that they have failed ideas. That they have failed in the ideas of foreign policy, they failed in the ideas of health care, they failed in the reforms of economic development, it failed in reforms of immigration. For the last 8 years, they would rather use those things as talking points instead of solutions. And so now all they're going to do is try and hold up. And the Senate is the prime example of this. The House, they've tried to in many ways on hearings, but they don't do it as well in the House because of our rules are different. But in the Senate, think about this for a second. I shared this last night. President Obama on day one had 8 of his cabinet members voice voted on the day he was inaugurated. 8 members of his cabinet were there the first day. We had, I think, 1 or 2. It took about 2 months to fully get at least a working group of the guy from Tom Price to Tillerson to others. It took till May to actually get the entire cabinet put together. Votes are happening now in the Senate on nominees who are getting approved 87 to 10. 90 to, but yet Democrats are forcing 30 hours of debate. which ties up the Senate's time to where they can only do 1 or 2 a week instead of being able to get the folks in place at the State Department and Defense Department where you have Obama appointees still in place. These are the kind of things that people don't see because the media is not going to report it. They're not going to talk about the obstruction. But I also blame my fellow colleagues in the Senate sometimes. They could change their rules to drop the debate time down to a couple of hours instead of 30 hours and start moving these folks through so they can get in and do their job. At the end of the day, this is exactly what we're seeing, is this resistance to just not doing anything because they have failed ideas. If they were working, people are not. I made this comment last day I was in the House. I did the rule for our veterans bill, which has been one of the great things. The president has signed this. He's been a champion for veterans, and we're going to continue to work hard with him. And I think we've got some really good stuff that did work that now gets our veterans the care they need. They got no excuses anymore. But I was there that day, and they were talking about the heroic nature of stopping healthcare. I said, but here's the problem. For the last 7 years, every election that has had Obamacare on the ballot, Democrats have lost, except the president getting reelected. And I think that was a part, as much Republican fault as it was Democrats turning out to vote. When we understand that, when they've lost state legislatures, when they've lost governorships, when they've lost Congress, both the House and the Senate, and now the presidency, people do not want government-run health care. They don't want single-payer health care. And I know that was a big chant last night, single-payer health care. It would bankrupt us. Even Bernie Sanders' bill, the spending alone per year takes up everything we spend in health care, VA included. So and that's just even getting started. So I think when you have failed ideas, when you have no solutions except government-run everything, and you have no hope in the American people, then all you're going to do is resist.
We got about 5 minutes and a couple quick things. When you get back, you got to deal with the debt ceiling. You got to deal with funding the government. Are we going to have a government shutdown? Are we going to be able to go back and resolve something to move forward? And something else I don't hear talk about with Republicans now in control. What are we doing about reducing our debt or looking at balancing our budget? So fiscally, what is the next direction for this country?
Well, a couple of big things is one is if we can get our budget vote done when we get back, we've had over $200 billion in mandatory cuts out of mandatory spending, that's their big driver, your mandatories. That's the Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, your debt. If we can restructure those where we're providing what needs to be provided, but yet doing so in a way that is not leading us toward a continual bankruptcy in this, those are the kind of things that we can do actual cost savings. We're still spending less in many ways, especially on the discretionary side, than we did before the president actually came into office. Many of the debates have come down. The issues that we have now are going to be, can we get our spending bills done, get our debt ceiling accomplished? It's something that we're going to have to do. The president understands this. And what's really interesting is the president actually looks at the appropriations bills and the debt ceiling as stuff that we just have to do and let's move forward. He wants to get to tax reform. He wants to get to immigration. He wants to get to the big things. He believes this is just like every other business. You deal with what you have to do instead of it becoming this large issue. Now, we want to look at wall funding, I think is a very important part of this. I think that's going to become a very contentious bone with especially the senators and what they're wanting to approve. So I don't look for a shutdown at all. It's not something that's good for really anybody. But I think this president's going to set a tone and say, here's what we want to see in a bill, or I won't sign it, which I think will have an interesting negotiating aspect on the Hill.
We can't leave this morning without talking about North Korea. We have to kind of wrap up with those two things. North Korea, Mad Dog Mattis, General Mattis, General John Kelly, President of the United States, very firm language, very direct.
Yes.
And the governor of Guam, I heard this morning, a lot of media is taking the president to task for his comments, but even the governor of Guam this morning said, we want a president that says, hey, you even think about it, and we're going to level, the retaliation is going to be like no other. Where are we at with North Korea to the best of your knowledge, and how serious is it this morning in this country?
I think it's serious. As we've talked about even in the last few days and years, you're dealing with a leader in North Korea that is nothing more than a pestilent child. He acts like a teenager who didn't get his way. He throws a temper tantrum. He's using a threat of ICBM and nuclear-tipped weapons as his banner against the world to say, I am somebody. at the same time, while he starves his own people, while he keeps his own people under basic slave conditions. This is a despotic dictator who knows no morals and no bounds. He is nothing but an absolute problem in the civilized world and doesn't belong in that world because he's chose not to be. How is that important? Because of where that peninsula sits with Japan, South Korea, China, Russia even, and its proximity to the United States. And the technology that we've now allowed over 20 to 30 years to develop. Passive indecision is what's happened with North Korea in previous administrations. I do appreciate the fact that the president is making a strong stand to say we're not going to tolerate this anymore. I think if we'd have had that maybe several years ago, maybe we wouldn't be in the place we are now with their nuclear proliferation and their work toward that. So we'll see how it works. Do you need to have diplomacy? Yes. Anybody who's ever been to war like myself, that's not where you want to be. But you also got to have a stern hand so that everybody knows where we stand.
Well, there's a lot of media that comes out and says that has discussed the president's temperament, his temperament. So I want to ask you, the President of the United States, Mattis, Secretary of Defense, Tillis, Secretary of State, John Kelly, Chief of Staff, some of the people that, the top people that are in the front of this, are you comfortable this morning with who's handling everything?
Very much so. Very much so with the you got the national security advisors. All of those folks are very well versed in what's going on in the world. This is not a president, especially in that arena, who has people around him that are novices in worldview.
Polling, we got to bring that up real quick. We started here with all the people that supported the president, and some of the media, we won't mention any names this morning, continue to see what they can do to dwindle the support for the president of the United States. Even to this last week, some of them headlines, Republicans in the House and Senate are starting to question, do you support the president of the United States this morning?
Oh, yes. I mean, we have. And look, as I said last night, and I've said this before, I represent the 9th District of Georgia. I represent the values that I bring with me, and I share that. And I've always said that from a leadership role in the House or the Senate, if they're right, I'll vote with them. If they're not, I won't. The president and I agree on many, many things. I support the president. He's been elected. He's brought a different voice. Do I agree on every little, hot and jittle that ever comes up? No, but that's, I think we need to do more mandatory spending changes. The president has decided he didn't want to touch those issues right now. I think we need to, just like Mick Mulvaney, his O&B director, he and I share the same philosophy there. That doesn't mean that I don't think he's on the wrong track. I think it's that we've got to work on the things that we can work on and continue to improve it. So this idea, look, reporters during the month of August, they have one thing to do, and that is report palace intrigue. And palace intrigue is the soup du jour of the day in Washington, D.C., because they're all in D.C. with nothing else to do, so they get on the phone and they call and they say, let's see what kind of gossip we can stir today until we get back in September.
Well, let me end with telling you this. One, we appreciate you coming in. We appreciate the Congressman all the time. He comes in. Actually, yearly you've done this. You've done this one. This is our second time.
Yeah.
You've come in the studio on recess and you call in and he gives us information. The Congressman calls in average about twice a month, sometimes more than that if something's going on that we need to talk to him about. So we appreciate you always keeping this district updated with us. But I want you to know here in LJ, I like Donald Trump tweeting.
Yeah.
And I want to say this before you leave, I liked it. I know some people don't like some of the things and they say, well, I wish you wouldn't have said this. But here in rural America, the president talks to us. I can go here. I have it up. And I keep it right there, and he can tell me, I could see it happen a minute ago, he could tell me, and I don't have to have NBC, I won't have to have anybody's filter out here in America. So for me, I want you to know, hey, I like it, a lot of my friends like it.
Well, I think that, and like I said last night, he's president, he can do what he wants. I think the interesting thing is from our perspective, especially on legislation, especially on movement, is when he's focused on those issues, it helps us a great deal. And using that power, I think he is learning even more so how that power can be moved to turn legislation and also to move public opinion, especially on the Hill. And as we have our focus together, when the White House and the Senate and the House are all together, there's great things that we can do from our conservative agenda, and that's what I want to see happen.
Let me say one thing, folks, before we leave, because we're going to close right now. But I do want to say, I don't know about your congressman in your district, wherever you may be, but this congressman here, you hear recess sometimes, and you tend to think they're not doing things, but I do know Congressman Doug Collins keeps the wheels turning when he's in recess, and he is all over his district, 20 counties or 19? 20 counties, and he's all over his district touching base and seeing what's going on here at home. right?
That is, every day.
And my favorite, we were talking earlier, I've done the Congressman for several years. My favorite is the Hope Scholarship, and I don't know if you remember this, because when I first started following you when you were running for office, and something came up about Hope Scholarship, and that is a state issue, you said, you know, when I was a kid, I was hoping I got enough hours over at the grocery store bagging groceries to pay for school, right?
Yep, sure.
Was that,
Yes.
So don't ever test my memory. Right?
Yeah, that was the Home Scholarship. Yeah,
That was your whole scholarship.
That was it.
Get enough hours bagging groceries. Thank you very much, Congressman. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
We're going to take a break, and we'll be right back. Good morning from the office, BKP.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge, we have your new house in stock.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: LJ, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and LJ.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine.
El Rey.
El Rey and LJ.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
The 17% savings are real at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. 17% off MSRP on every 2017 Chevy Silverado LT Crew Cab and Double Cab. Save up to $7,500. Get this loaded Silverado Crew Cab for only $36,500, or save up to $4,600 on the new 2017 Chevy Equinox with leather. Now just $23,500 at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where the 17% savings are real.
Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
Hello,
my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LOJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair, and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP, coming to you from atop. I've got to do something here because look at just the empty room. I got to get a couple tables and plants. And this is Studio B. BKP, this is Studio B coming to you. Let's see, where are we at? The 17th floor, right, of BKP Towers, right? Is that what it is? Yeah. You can see it right out front, LJ. It's the only 17-story building in downtown LJ. That is the beautiful. Let me go over this. That is the beautiful downtown LJ behind me. Glad to be able to put that look out the big glass window at the beautiful downtown of LJ. Congressman Doug Collins. Now I'm just getting used to what I have going on here. If you have, let's put this up. Let's get started out. If you have any questions, now I only had 30 minutes, so I know all the things you say. Well, why didn't you ask Congressman this, and why didn't you ask Congressman that? And I'm just going to tell you, I'm trying to get out of the way. Not just go after the congressman. I've had some criticism that I've not really had strong questions or come across with some strong questions for the congressman. A little bit of criticism, but I like to get an opportunity for the House of Representatives, your representative in the 9th District, to at least say, you know what? We have passed this. The media doesn't talk about it. We have rolled back these regulations. And, your congressman supports the President of the United States. That's all there is to it. He is not. The media this morning, and I like to let the congressman talk so I could do a couple things. The media this morning wants you to believe that there's this mass exodus of Republicans that are pulling away from the president. And in the last week, we've heard the Senate. The Senate is moving away. They are finding their own voice. They are separating from the White House. Republicans in the Senate are separating from the White House. They have found their own voice, and they're not going to lock step with Donald Trump and do whatever they're told. So we're hearing that, and in most accounts, that's not true. It's just the media has nothing to do but to create some kind of conflict on a daily basis. So if you want to contact us, our number is 706-889-9700, 706-889-9700. If you want to send us an email, that's chief@fetchernews.com. Follow us on Twitter @FetcherNews. Follow us on Twitter @FYNTV. If you want to follow our YouTube channel, that's FYNTV Fetcher News on YouTube. So you can send us text messages. You can find Fetcher News on Facebook. Follow us there. And Rose will be glad to answer your text, answer your send them over to me. And try to make this a much more interactive show. So you're more than welcome to send stuff to us and follow us on Twitter. Rose keeping up with that for us. Sam, I want to thank you. You know, yesterday I walked out of here and had to go to Gainesville, went to the town hall, had several phone calls that I had to make. And so yesterday I had to figure out something on the computer, and I called Sam. It's about 4:30. Trying to figure out something, and she said, "Now, when you get in the office tomorrow, don't freak out." Okay, so I said, "All right, okay." I want to say thank you to Lonnie, James, and Sam for the work, especially Lonnie and Sam here on putting this set together and getting everything ready in the new studio and everything that they have in place. Office looks great, so I want to give them all a shout out this morning and thank them for everything they do. Moving right along, last night, here's what you're seeing. I wanted to see, what are we seeing on TV about the resistance? How much of it is the media embellishing? How much are they moving the story their way? So you have a group of people. There's 236. Let me talk about the town hall last night. Do I have any of those pictures? Did they come through? Just rotate any of them if I got some. These are. I didn't send you to the town hall. Okay. It says I sent you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 pictures. Check that out if I have them. But anyhow, if I don't, that's okay. I'll be putting them up on Facebook. I took about 100 pictures to the town hall. You got them. If just any time we're talking about it, there's nothing particular. Just put them in there if you can. So yesterday, I go over there. Congressman holds a town hall. The room will fit 236 people. They let 236 in, and then they closed the doors. There were several outside that could not get in. So there were several. I don't know how many got turned away, but if you're hearing any reports in the media, I want to be clear, if you're hearing any reports in the media, Doug Collins Town Hall, and people were turned away, I want to make sure you understand it was because of the public safety numbers that were allowed in the room, 236. They cut it off. The congressman did not. That's number one. Number two, the questions. Let me tell you how it was set up, because I'm gonna break something down for you that you're not seeing in the media or hearing anywhere else. So what the congressman did last night is he allowed everybody to come in. There was a table to write a question. Okay, write a question down and put it in a bowl. They had a big bowl of questions. Then they randomly pulled a member of Doug Collins' staff randomly pulled the question and read the question to the congressman. At that time, the congressman asked anybody in the audience to identify who it was asking the question, and they did. They could stand up or wave their hand that it was them. Then the congressman answered the question. But here's the problem, is the resistance showed up, which is okay, but they were not interested in an answer. Virtually almost any question that was asked, they were not interested in an answer. They were not there to discuss it. They were there just to shout down, okay? Now, they get different people in the room. And this is where it gets touchy, okay? This is where it gets touchy. And I just want to say this, and I don't want anybody to get upset with what I'm about to say, but they put young people, they put older people, they put people, veterans. I'm not saying anything, but they make sure some older people are wearing some military hats, Vietnam hats, whatever. Okay, I'm not saying it's set up. I'm just saying they make sure that they have it look like that this is a representation of their district, and it's not. The 9th District of Georgia is a 80-20, still an 80-20 district. There's about 80% Republican, 20% Democrat, and it's 80-20, and that has not changed, okay? You may read in the media this morning that the district is turning, okay? They'll use words. If you start reading articles, they'll use words. Is the 9th District turning? Is there a gradual turn in the 9th? Is it a different kind of voice in the 9th District? Watch and see. But that's not the case, okay? So they will shout over anything that's asked. They're not there to hear. They're not there to have a town hall. They're not, okay? Liar, liar. They just anything to get media attention. And it's all set up and orchestrated. And the media loves it, okay? Because, as soon as 2 or 3 people, this one lady starts screaming, the media rushes up front to video or picture back at this one person. And that's the person going to make the news, okay? I'm not saying there will not be, but I would like to see how many accounts they are with how many people came out to support the congressman, all right? That being said, they do this on purpose, and then the media picks out these little pockets and highlights them to sensationalize what a major catastrophe these town halls. And your congressman is coming home to their constituents are upset, and they're screaming. Watch the town hall, okay? Now, I was set up in the corner. I have it. If you want to watch Doug Collins' town hall, and I'll move on to another subject, okay? If you want to watch Congressman Doug Collins' town hall, you go to Fetch Your News, FYN TV, Fetch Your News, YouTube channel. And as they were leaving, my camera's in the corner, they were looking into my camera screaming, resistance, resistance, okay? You could see that right to the end. If you go to the end, you can see resistance. They are the media is cooperating with these people, okay? And that's just all. They're not interested in an answer. They're not interested. They're not actual people showing up, maybe 2 or 3 that have a problem with the healthcare system. Here's what bothered me last night in this country. I sat over there with 236 people, and I'm going to get off this subject. And every question was healthcare, healthcare, healthcare. Why can't we have a single payer? Why can't we have fix the Affordable Care Act? Just on and on. All right? Healthcare. Nobody really, if I remember right, was really no emphasis on North Korea, the serious situation. There was a little bit. I don't want to say there wasn't, but there was a little bit. Nobody talked about the debt. Nobody talked about when they get back the debt ceiling. Nobody talked about the budget. Nobody talked about tax cuts. Nobody. What can the government give me? That was it. That was the highlight of the night. I want this from the government. I want the government to give me this. I want the government to give me that. I deserve this. I. Not a tax cut. Hell, they don't need a tax cut. Why would you need a tax cut if you're living off the government? You need my tax money. You see, there's two things. When you say tax cut, there's the people that want a tax cut. But then there's that group over there that want your tax money. Okay? They feel they deserve it. And all I'm saying to you is last night, it was, you owe me my health care. The government owes me something. The government should give me something. The government was well on their way of giving me something and you're taking it away. On and on and on. Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Not one word on tax reform. Not one word on the budget. Not one word. I went outside, and I'm not going to mention the guy's name. He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks. Gentleman followed me outside. Democrat followed me outside. He's going to be on the show in a couple weeks, and he had his daughter there. And I looked at this 12-year-old girl last night, and I was talking to this gentleman. We were having a nice conversation. Democrat, I got to throw that in. It was a nice conversation. And I looked at his daughter out there, and I said, you know, the one thing that upsets me about tonight, this 12-year-old girl looked at her and said, you know, one thing that upsets me about tonight is, do you know how much you owe? Do you? Do you know how much is expected from you in the debt? Do you know what you owe? Because what bothers me is, in there tonight, we're trying to figure out how we can pile on more and more of what you owe, and you're going to be responsible for one day that we're creating. And I said, I'm very sorry. I just do not like knowing that you sit in there for an hour and you, 12 years old, don't know what you owe in the debt and really what's going on. So that was that. I'm going to take a brief break, get set up, regroup for 9 o'clock. Folks, we yell this, but this is as close as I've ever seen a congressman come to showing the frustration for the Senate. The do-nothing Senate. They have Congress will try to be polite where their colleagues over in the Senate and vice versa, and they'll try to be polite to each other and not take one body to task. But if you listen to the interview I just completed with Doug Collins, Congressman Collins, you will see they're not happy over in the House. They're not happy with the Senate. Okay? Mitch McConnell must go. These elitists must go. We'll be right back after these messages and talk to that. Don't forget, talk about that. Don't forget, 706-889-9700 or chief@fetchernews.com. Take us to break, Sam.
Ace is your healthful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey in LJ.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
You know, we have all of these investigations. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. I started a segment yesterday that I'm not going to stop. And I want you to know that because I want you to start building this up because we're not going to stop this. And we're going to continue to filter through some of the things that's happening in the city of Blue Ridge. I am very upset after learning there was an orchestrated collusion to try to remove the mayor, okay? And all too many times this is misunderstood as a defense for the mayor. There are things set in the city charter. There are things set in the city charter that allow for the removal of a council member or the mayor, and if something happens, then they should be. But the collusion that took place by the certain individuals involved really upset me. There's so many things, but to find out that the concerned citizens of Blue Ridge was actually something that was planned by Blue Ridge Chief of Police Johnny Searcy and City Council member Angie Arp and Mark Thomason, former publisher of the Fan and Focus, and Steve Setzer, the owner of the Swan Drive-In, to find out that that was a set-up collusion to make that happen, and that Councilwoman Angie Arp actually wrote everything that Patrick Crane went to the podium and read. So I just want you to keep picturing the podium, if you're used to Blue Ridge City Council, and a citizen standing at the podium representing themselves as concerned citizens of Blue Ridge, representing themselves, saying this is their statement, and the council person is sitting there listening to this, knowing they wrote the statement that's being read. Wow, that's just, there's something like that I cannot let that go. So we're not going to let that go. We're going to stay on that. That is very, very bad. Police Chief Johnny Searcy, Steve Setzer, the owner of the Swan Drive-In, Mark Thomason, former publisher of the Fan and Focus, and Councilwoman Angie Arp, all in on the concerned citizens of Blue Ridge to try to invoke see, they can't do it. They need the citizens to do it. They had to pick a pawn, and I hate to say that about Patrick Crane. I told you yesterday, I don't want to get sidetracked here, but I told you yesterday, I like Patrick Crane, but they used him as a pawn to to go to the podium because we're going to read Monday. Here's what I'm getting. I'll end this. Monday, we're going to play you the video of Patrick Crane going to the podium and posing as a concerned citizen of Blue Ridge. We're going to play that video while you get to see the expression on Councilwoman Angie Arp's face. Okay? Yeah, you get to see her expression like, oh, I'm hearing this for the first time. I'm very concerned myself. Really, knowing she wrote this, according to Patrick Crane, that she wrote everything he stood at the podium and read. And we're going to play both of those videos. We're going to play the video where she asked, she says, we have to, do this based on the concerned citizens of our county or our city, Blue Ridge. So her motion to investigate. $43,000. I can't get started, folks. $43,000, I think it was. We could do a lot with that money. Anyhow, but we're going to do that Monday. Well, I left you hanging there, right? Monday. We're putting all that together. We're going to do a segment Monday, so I have all weekend. I was going to be straight with you. I'm going to tell you the truth. All right? I'm tired. Just straight up. Now, I'm okay. I'm going to get through the day. But somehow through this day, I'm going to turn this damn phone off. Oh, excuse me. And I was going to say I was going to disappear, but I better not say that. That's a poor choice of words, right? Especially, right? It's pretty bad when you're somewhere and you're getting phone calls saying, "Do you have a gun?" Getting phone calls, "Are you protected?" Getting phone calls saying, "Somebody might burn your house down." I swear to God. I mean, there's no sense. I told you the other day, I had just had it. I am not holding back on any of this garbage anymore. It's pretty bad. That's the kind of phone calls I get. But anyhow, let's get back to this. I'm going over to the Playhouse, okay? I'm going over to the Playhouse, the Gilmer Arts at noon. Going to have lunch over there. And then after that, I don't know, no telling what I'll do. Maybe I'll go through the Fannin County Courthouse and say hello. I always like to do that when I got nothing else. Just go through and say hello. Gilmer Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament is August 12th, folks. This is August 10th, August 12th, and we want to ask you to get that. Make sure Sam Rose is putting that back out on all the social media sites and everything like that. Make sure we're popping that back up, tweeting it out, whatever we got to do. Make sure Rose is getting this out because the Gilmer Sports Hall of Fame golf tournament is August 12th. And all the information, if you would like to put a 4-person team together, if you'd like, it's $50 a person, $200 for a team. If you'd like to get sponsorship, whatever, they're still looking for teams out there. So don't hesitate to get in touch with them. And you can find that on our website, FetcherNews.com. You can find it on our Facebook page. We're going to get it out right now. Okay, so I just listened to the Congressman talk about how he is not really concerned. I mean, he's concerned. Let's not say he's not concerned, but he's satisfied with the people we have in place. He's very satisfied with the people we have in place with General Kelly, General Mattis, Rex Tillerson, our National Security Advisor, and the President of the United States. So he's not as concerned as the media out there over the fury, the fire and fury comments that were made. Elitist. Mitch McConnell must go, folks. We've got to quit talking about it. All the elitists have to go. Mitch McConnell, to me, you may not understand this, okay? But to me, this is as equal in some ways as Hillary Clinton's basket of deplorables. So we just want to play, Sam, I want to play like the first 18 seconds and then end that video. The first 18 seconds. Will you play that for me?
new president had, of course, not been in this line of work before, and I think had excessive expectations about how quickly things happen in the democratic process.
Well, that comment has really set off a number of
concerns. Go ahead, back to me. Our new president has not been in this line of work before. It's like interviewed. Now, what were you doing before you decided to run for president, businessman? You've not been in our line of work, so you have no background, you have no experience, right? Okay. We generally like a little experience. We like a senator that has maybe been here 20 plus years. We like 20 plus years. That's usually about the threshold where we might move you up the ladder. We like to see you here 20, 28 years, 30 years. We'd like to see you come being worth $300,000. We'd like to see you leaving worth, $4 or $5 million, $50 million. If you're lucky, you can be worth $100 million when you leave here as a senator. But that's where we like to get you to. So you already have money, so you don't need hours. You don't need no backdoor deals as a senator to become rich. You're not used to this line of work. Let's see, where can we go with this? You have no. See, I think it's possible if you were to get elected, you would have excessive expectations to how the democratic process works. And I just don't know if we can really work with you right now. Thank you for coming in. Thank you for coming in. We'll keep your resume on file. We'll let you know if anything becomes available. But just because the American people don't want a politician, and just because the American people are tired of electing somebody that has been there year after year after year, and just because the American people want to elect somebody that is not beholden to a special interest group in any way whatsoever, and I understand there's a process, okay? I can go with that. But Donald Trump is used to, and I understand it all too well, coming in on Monday morning and going over, okay, let's have a strategy meeting for the week. And, okay, these are the bullet points and the things we'd like to accomplish this week. And then next Monday, he wants to know why they didn't get accomplished. And he wants to answer. Because your chance was to say, hey, we can't get that done this week. We need to move it out 2 weeks or whatever. So he has excessive expectations, okay? That's what he has, according to Mitch McConnell. I asked Congressman Doug Collins right here if he felt the President of the United States had excessive expectations. Pull me up Trump tweet 2. I know that's not in the order. Put that up there, Trump tweet 2. And Trump tweet 2 says, Senator Mitch McConnell said, where's it at? Oh, there it is. Okay, I got you. All right, we might be getting used to the new studio and where the pictures go. Oh, I see what you got. I got it. That's fine. That's fine. We're good. Senator Mitch McConnell said I had excessive expectations, but I don't think so. After 7 years of hearing repeal and replace, why is it not done? How do I have excessive expectations? Really? That is your explanation, Mitch McConnell, when you went home, when your constituents were asking you why you did not keep your promise to the American people? You said excessive expectations? Really? And let's go to Trump, let's go to Mitch McConnell number 1. And number 1 over here, Mitch McConnell, this is a tweet the president sent out. Can you believe that Mitch McConnell, who has screamed repeal and replace for 7 years, couldn't get it done. Must repeal and replace Obamacare. Okay? He couldn't get it done. The President of the United States is telling you he could not get it done. He thinks I have the expectations, really excessive expectations. The American people have excessive expectations. The American people have voted in the majority of the United States Republican governors because they have excessive expectations. The American people have voted in the majority of the United States state, Senate, and legislative bodies as Republicans because they have excessive expectations. The American people voted in the House of Representatives, 435 of them, a strong majority in Congress of Republicans because they have excessive expectations. And Mitch, one more, you have a 51 or 52 majority in the Senate. The Republicans have the Senate, and you are the leader in the Senate because the American people have excessive expectations. And let's go to the top prize, Mitch. The American people put Donald Trump as president of the United States because they have excessive expectations. No, the American people expect you to do your damn job. And that's not an excessive expectation. And that you need to go. You need to go today. I don't think Mitch McConnell should go back to D.C. Obviously, that is something that has been said. That's something that has been said that, that's not going to happen. I'm tired of the Senate. I'm tired of all, the way they get up there and talk. You would think they need to be wearing those white powdered wigs, those white wigs and robes and like they're in the parliament. And they get up there and let me tell you something. Donald Trump is the only one that's had the nerve to say, Chuck Schumer, he's a clown. The tears of a clown, right? So here, I'm gonna end this expectations with this. We sit there and we watch the Senate, and you're not going to like this. I know you're not. You're going to say, well, that's a little crude. That's not nice. We can't act like that. We should be kind to each other. I'm wondering, every time we say that, well, we should have kind words and don't call anybody a liar. Let's just say they mishandled the truth, and let's not get ugly, and and there's so many things. I'm wondering, where is that getting us? I think it's time. So you ever see the Senate, and the Senate's sitting there, and you got somebody like Chuck Schumer comes up, or Dick Durbin, all right? And they come up and they give the craziest nonsense. They start talking the craziest nonsense you've ever heard. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. Schumer gets up there and Dick Durbin, and they just nonsense, just total buffoons. Then you get a Republican gets up there behind him, and he'll say, my esteemed colleague, I'd like to discuss. Now, my esteemed colleagues from Connecticut, I in theory disagree with. I want a senator to get up there, and now what you're going to tell me is, well, that's against the rules. I want, like, Chuck Schumer to go up there and say something really ridiculous, and then I want a Republican senator up there and say, you know what? I want to tell you, that dumbass that just sat down, that's what I want to do, right? Really? That dumbass that just sat down? Seriously, I mean, I know that wasn't nice, but I have had it up to your expectations. I mean, that just set me over the edge. Set me over the friggin' edge. Expectations. I'm going to take a break. I want to come back. I want to talk about Paul Manafort and the FBI raid. I want to talk about that, okay, and get that underway. Paul Manafort, FBI raid. What else we got today? We got a lot of stuff today. I got to check it out. But I'm just telling you, watch the town hall last night, and you will see for yourself that a lot of the people, okay, a lot of the people are just clipping these small segments to try to, inflame, exasperate what is really going on out there in these town halls. Resist summer, Nancy Pelosi. Take a break, Sam. We'll be back after these messages, folks.
The 17% savings are real at Days Chevrolet in Jasper. 17% off MSRP on every 2017 Chevy Silverado LT Crew Cab and Double Cab. Save up to $7,500. Get this loaded Silverado Crew Cab for only $36,500. Or save up to $4,600 on the new 2017 Chevy Equinox with leather. Now just $23,500 at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where the 17% savings are real. Days Chevrolet. Find new roads.
Hello, my name is Chad Watkins. I'm the manager at Larry's Body Shop. We are a family-owned and operated business and have been serving the North Georgia area since 1978. We are located at 1216 Progress Road in LJ, Georgia. Our shop specializes in collision repair and we work with all major insurance companies. Larry's Body Shop is ICAR Gold, the highest role of training recognized by the collision repair industry. It is estimated that only 10% of collision shops meet these standards. Our shop consists of state-of-the-art equipment such as laser measurement system, down-drive spray booth, spot and MIG welding equipment. All of our paints are mixed on-site so that we can guarantee your paint to match every time. I know that having an accident can be a stressful event. We take pride in making sure our customers are satisfied with the repair of their vehicles. Our waiting area is clean and comfortable with free Wi-Fi and refreshing beverages. So if you're in an accident, stop by and see us at Larry's Body Shop.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
I'm back. I know. I'm looking something up. Now, folks, what's her name? Heather Neuart? Is that her name? Heather Neuart? She's a spokesperson for the State Department. Okay, now the State Department is Sam, if you come across my favorite picture, don't hesitate, put it up. But Heather is the spokesperson for the State Department. Now the media wants you to believe that, ratchet down the rhetoric, that the world is concerned, the whole entire world is concerned. Australia is concerned, South Korea is concerned, Japan, the leader of Japan. The whole world's concerned on what we will do, and they're trying to use diplomatic channels to try to avert this possible military disaster. This Mattis said, he could end the North Koreans' existence. Period. Just end it. Okay. Mattis's mother of all bombs, James Mattis, could end their existence. Their people as they know them today. It could be gone. All right. And we are looking for a president. Oh, that's my favorite picture. Sam, you know that, right? Oh, just try. That is, now that's what you call, that is a spokesperson. But let me tell you something. I know how it sounds when I say this is my favorite picture. This is a very nice lady. I want you to hear her push back on Andrea Mitchell of ABC. Now, everybody's attacking the president, need to ratchet down the rhetoric, ratchet it down, right? They're concerned, the world is concerned with President Trump's statements. Let me tell you something. The governor of Guam is not concerned. The congressman that was here is not concerned. There's many not concerned. But you always have John McCain, okay? Wanted to be president, couldn't be president, and now he's the summer resistance. Yeah. John McCain is part of the resistance movement, whether you want to believe it or not. Okay, somebody said to me that just a source, an unnamed source, that when when John McCain gave his thumbs down on the bill, he said to somebody there, "Now let's see Donald Trump make America great again. What's he going to do with that?" or something like that. Yeah, he's a nasty old man. Nasty old man. But anyhow, they want to use diplomatic channels, and everybody, the first thing they want to do is say when Donald Trump tweets out, he is surprising everybody. He's surprising his chief of staff. He's surprising his generals. He's surprising his Secretary of Defense, Rex Tillerson at the State Department. So Andrea Mitchell is going to make sure she could figure out how the president did something wrong here in his rhetoric about North Korea. Go ahead, let's play this video of the State Department, and I'll let you know when to end it.
Hi, could I follow up? The Secretary's call was, though, well after the fire and fury language. Senator McCain and others, Republicans and Democrats, have complained that it was, quote, bombastic in Senator Feinstein's view, not helpful, said Senator McCain, that no other president, not Eisenhower, not Reagan, no other president that he knew of would have used such language. And the implication from all of the critics is that the president's language implied the use of nuclear force. Is that the way the Secretary read it? And did the Secretary have any early warning from his earlier phone call that this was going to happen? Or did he only speak to the president in the aftermath?
He spoke to the president after the fact, after the president made his announcement. You know, as people look at this, and some consider comments to have been alarming, I would have to go back to this. Let's consider what is alarming. What is alarming: 2 ICBM tests in less than a month, 2 nuclear tests that took place last year. As a matter of fact, when there's an earthquake in China, I get many emails and calls from all of you asking, was it another nuclear test? That is how big of a deal this is, at what is going on. Let me just follow up. Let me finish. Okay, please. Sure. It is a big deal what is going on. It is a concern to the world, not just the United States. Those are alarming actions. They are provocative actions on the part of North Korea.
My question is, given those provocations from North Korea, which has been belligerent in the extreme, granted, stipulated, is it helpful or unhelpful for the president to use the kind of language that we have seen previously coming from Kim Jong-un, not from presidents of the United States? Is he exacerbating the
president spoke to him, to Kim Jong-un, in a language that Secretary Tillerson has said, and said this morning, in the kind of language that Kim Jong-un will understand. We would like to see results. The pressure campaign, we see that working. The international community is in agreement with the United States and many of our partners and allies on putting additional pressure on North Korea. The Secretary happens to be coming back from the ASEAN conference, where they had tremendous success. It was a good week for diplomacy. I know you all want to obsess over statements and all of that, and try to want to make a lot of noise out of that. But what is important to keep in mind is that this diplomatic pressure at ASEAN, at the meeting of the 10 Asian nations, along with the United States, came to a joint agreement and a joint statement and put out a very strong condemnation of North Korea. We are all singing from the same hymn book.
A lot of us have reported on the success of that effort at the UN and in ensuing days. That doesn't take away from that to question the lack of a national security interagency process in this instance with a presidential statement that has perhaps undercut the previous success.
I don't know that I would agree with you on that. Okay, next question.
We're all singing from the same hymn book. You're obsessed over the statements. 2 nuclear tests. That's what's alarming. All right, folks, listen. The fact of the matter is, they do not want, the media does not want us to be strong. They don't want us to be strong. They don't want us to be the leader in the world. They don't want us to say, they don't want us to be a superpower. They just don't. I mean, you think I am so far off the mark. They're not okay with us being a superpower. They're not okay with us. They are looking for every way whatsoever to say Obama would not have done this. Obama would have walked away from a red line. Obama's toughest comment was, there's a line in the sand. And he could not even hold that or keep the enemy from crossing the line in the sand with chemical weapons. So that being said, fire and fury, it was a bombastic. See, Andrea Mitchell is not interested in anything whatsoever about Guam. She's not interested if the missiles that, I told you this yesterday, so we'll stay on this just a minute. I want to tell you, just reiterate, yesterday, the demilitarized zone. Now, you've lived probably your whole life, and many of you out there have never discussed or paid attention to what's called the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea. Now, the war ended for South Korea, and they went on with, opened a democracy, and they went on with a capitalism. That's the big word. Wow, where's that at? Kia, Hyundai, Seoul, South Korea. I mean, this is a flourishing country here, economically very strong. But the North never ended that war. Okay, that in their mind, that war did not end. Okay, it did not end. The demilitarized zone is not something that they accepted. All right, they do not think the war is over. They never have. They have missiles. 20 million people are 33 miles away from hundreds of missiles and thousands of troops that the North Koreans are on that line ready to go. So we talk about Guam, yes. We talk about launching missiles into the Sea of Japan or over Japan, yes. We talk about missiles that could hit Alaska, okay? Yes, they could, all right? We talk about missiles that could hit the West Coast. Hawaii is in fear. 8 to 12 minutes. Hawaii has 8 to 12 minutes. But you know what? He could kill 20 million people in the next 15 minutes. I hate to say it that way, in Seoul, South Korea, and he can launch thousands of missiles right there on the demilitarized zone border 33 miles away and just start killing millions, okay? So that being said, okay, we have to do something. Nothing from Andrea Mitchell on that. Nothing at all. So the world, she tells you we are all singing from the same hymn book. Congressman says we're all singing from the same hymn book. You're obsessing over a statement that was bombastic. And she looked right back and said, let me tell you what's alarming here. 2 nuclear tests, and the list goes on. That's what's alarming, not the president saying fire and fury. We need a president of the United States. The American people are ready for a president of the United States. We dropped the mother of all bombs. He didn't play no games. Remember that one? Dropped it. Okay? ISIS is on the run. Do you ever hear any positive about how Donald Trump and this military, his generals as he calls it, they're clearing ISIS out? You hear any positives on that? No. You don't hear that. Okay? This president, I think what China is saying today, and they're stopping to think about, China is probably saying, you know what? This guy's just crazy enough to do it. Now, Mattis said the U.S. Defense Secretary James Mattis issued a drastic ultimatum to North Korea on Wednesday. Okay, on Wednesday, to cease any consideration of actions that would lead to the end of its regime and destruction of its people. Strong words that came just the day after President Donald Trump warned that the U.S. could unleash fire and fury on Pyongyang. There you go. That's it, folks. Mattis said it. He will end their existence. I don't like to come and say the same thing over and over and over. You wouldn't want to watch the show. But please, somebody discuss the fact that this happened, Bill Clinton and Madeleine Albright. Bill Clinton and Madeleine Albright. 24 years of failed policy. Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Barack Obama, and yes, we have no choice. Donald Trump has to do something about it. China can handle it, or we will. And he's already said that. I'm your host, BKP. I'm going to take a brief break because I want to talk about Paul Manafort before we close. I promised that. I want to talk about that, and I want to look around at a couple other things to make sure I'm up to date on what's happening before we close. Sam, take us to break.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
Circuit World, brand name merchandise at unbelievably low prices. Furniture, appliances, and electronics. Circuit World is locally owned and operated, serving the tri-state area. Circuit World has highly trained professionals to help. Visit your hometown Circuit World today. 3 locations in Georgia: Ellijay, Blue Ridge, and Blairsville, Franklin, and Murphy, North Carolina. No credit checks, so let Circuit World deliver to you today.
El Rey and Ellijay.
El Rey Mexican Restaurant.
Family owned and operated, and a local favorite for families, parties, and meetings.
Great prices.
Friendly service and delicious Mexican cuisine.
Patio dining available.
Come sing in Carlos's Cantina every Friday 9 to 1.
Eat in or take away.
Same location for 14 years. Open 7 days at the corner of Maddox Drive and 515. North Georgia's favorite Mexican cuisine. El Rey and Ellijay.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Now, I don't want to leave without the Paul Manafort FBI raid, okay, on the home. Now, not knowing all the details, we'll stick with, we'll see what they come up with. And obviously, we have said this from day one, and I've told the congressman here, I think Bob Mueller should be gone. I think President Donald Trump should do what he has to do to fire him. Now, there's a school of thought, okay? There is a school of thought that, hey, you know what? That there's not going to, nothing's going to come out on the president, and if we just let these investigations continue on, we're told then the president, you heard it here this morning, can move on with his presidency. Okay, there's that school of thought that's out there, so I want the drastic move of I think we're going to go back, and I don't want to rehash old stories, but the day that James Comey, former FBI director, said, and I would encourage you to go listen to Congressman Doug Collins' YouTube video on his interrogation of James Comey and Loretta Lynch. I would like for you to go listen because he was pretty forceful and direct with him. I mean, only certain sound bites get to play on the national stage, but go listen to Congressman's comments on YouTube with Loretta Lynch and James Comey, okay? Pull that up. Congressman Doug Collins questions Loretta Lynch and James Comey. Anyhow, with Comey saying, No, I've talked to the people. No, not you. I don't mean you. I'm sorry. Sam's ready to pull them up and go with them. Okay, you want to pull them up? Maybe at a later time we might do that. But I'm telling you at home, take the time to do that. The point is, Comey leaking his notes. Memo to the New York Times through a Columbia law professor, saying in the testimony, hoping that it would cause for a special counselor. Now we call it a special counsel right now, but it's going to be soon a special prosecutor. You will see. You'll start hearing that. It'll switch from special counsel to prosecutor. Watch and see. Anyhow, so they subpoena everything, and Manafort comes in and he sits down, he talks to them, he shows them the documents, but they decide, hey, there's something deeper here. They show a judge that there's good reason that maybe Manafort didn't bring everything in he could have, and there's a lot they need to see. So what do? They raid Paul Manafort's house before daylight to catch him off guard. So he's got to find his slippers, he's got to get his house coat, and he's like, who could be here at this hour? Oh, there's FBI, this is a crime scene, right? And and they come in, we have a warrant, Mr. Manafort, to go through everything. Whatever. Now, I'm just saying, Hillary Clinton, the FBI showed up. She knew it well in advance. I think when they came in, she had cookies on the table. She was not under oath. She was not placed under oath in this when they talked to her. She wasn't placed under oath. They sit there and they probably said, well, Miss Clinton, Senator Clinton, Secretary Clinton, we apologize for this inconvenience today, and we're sorry that we have to bother you on the 4th of July. Was it 5th of July? When did they interview her? But we're sorry that we have to do this on holiday weekend, and we understand you're busy, and we want you to get back to your regular routine, but we just have a couple minor questions. Okay, gentlemen, would you like cookies? We made some cookies today, or we got lemonade. Would you like some lemonade cookies? No, man, we appreciate that. So, I mean, I'm okay. I understand the difference. But I want to know if you can find me, now not Anthony Weiner, don't give me Anthony Weiner as your answer. I want to know if they maybe when they smashed the hard drives, when she smashed these phones, remember that report? 13 phones or whatever she smashed? I want to know if there were any FBI swarm. I want to know if the FBI went after anybody else. If Susan Rice got up at 5:30 in the morning and said, wonder who's at the door, FBI, we have a search warrant for your house. What if John Podesta ever got up at 5:30 in the morning? Okay, wonder who's out there, FBI. We feel you have money and your brother has illegal money, and we feel that you have ties to this and ties to that. Okay. Now, Manafort, not going into the weeds, Manafort is suspected to have, some business dealings in other countries, that, may need looked at. I don't know. I'm not going to argue that fact. I just wonder why they keep passing, and I know you out there wonder this too. Where is the search warrant from the FBI to go and raid Susan Rice's house? Where's the search warrant for the FBI to go and raid maybe Brian Pagliano's house? Where's the search warrant in the FBI raid for Hillary Clinton's house? Uma Abedin, right? Where's that? We know more about her sending to her personal computer, sending classified information, and it being printed out. We have that. Okay? Where is the FBI raid on Susan Rice, John Podesta? Where are they all at? Why do we have nothing? As far as I'm concerned, we have next to nothing happening in that area. But President Trump, nonstop. I will tell you this. I want to end this conversation with saying I'm very concerned that we continue to say, let these investigations play out, and then the president can move on with his presidency. That makes me nervous, because let me tell you something. Kenneth Starr, Bob Mueller, they know. Special counsel knows. Remember, they got Scooter Libby, and that was just lying to the FBI, was it, right? But Scooter Libby, they will not come up empty. They cannot pay the political price. Republicans are cowards. They are absolutely the most cowardice people I've ever seen. Okay? Cowards. Absolutely. They will sit there and wait. And there's nothing, they will not defend your president. They will not. Okay? And I'm telling you now, for some reason, it really concerns me with, let's get all of these investigations out, completed, so the president can move on with his presidency. Because I think they're determined to find something, okay? Something on this president. I'm determined. And I'm determined that they're going to find it around 2018 here in the election cycle. I want to know what it's going to be like. Folks, here's what you have to start thinking about. What's it going to be like for What's it going to be like to have a Republican House, a Democrat Senate, and a Republican White House? Whoa. I mean, get ready. People are upset. Not the resistance. Not the resistance. That's not who. People are upset with their senator. They definitely are upset with their senator. So I'm wondering what it's going to be like, okay? I just look down and I see another closing due to the eclipse of a public office. So I just looked down and I saw that, and the eclipse. I think most. No, I better not say that. That would really get me in trouble. But every time I see the eclipse, I have my eclipse glasses. Folks, what do you think about the studio? Tell me. Send me a message, 706-889-9700. What do you think about our new studio? Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Facebook. Now, we talked during the break, Sam and I talked about, filling the empty spaces over here. I think I'll get some plants for the big. We just got this big, enormous glass room. We got the city of LJ as our background. That right out there, you can see the city of LJ. It's really nice. That's all behind us. And we're on the 17th floor of BKP Tower. If you come in LJ, you say, wow, this is unusual. There's this nice little quiet town, and then there's that 17-story building, and BKP is in the penthouse suite. That's where I'm at. I'm just making stuff up, right? So anyhow, we will continue to develop here. We are looking for new shows. We want to develop new shows. Let's just take a minute to put all this out this morning. We are looking for sports reporters to be on the sideline for many of the football teams in North Georgia this fall. We're still looking for sports reporters. We're looking to develop. We have our production studio now. We have the studio here. We are now looking to develop more programming at FYN TV. So if you would like to do a show, if you have an idea for a show, we're looking for associate producers, somebody to help produce shows. We do not want to go off the air any longer at 10 o'clock. We want more producers in here. We want to produce more shows for you out there, the viewers. So associate producers, if you want to do news, we'll do a news broadcast, whatever. Get in touch with us today, chief@fetchernews.com or 706-889-9700. We're looking to grow those areas. I want to encourage you to go to fetchernews.com and look at all of the counties and see all of the information we're starting to put up. I'm going to give Robin a shout out up in Towns, Mark a shout out up in Union County. Check those counties out. There's always new information going on there. Just go on there, click on your community, or click on news in your county. We'll give a shout out to Bill over in the Dawson, White, and Lumpkin area. Give a shout out to Mandolin down in Pickens, Lonnie here in Gilmer, and Natalie up in Fannin. So if you would like to be if you would like to do investigative reporting, if you would like to, do courtroom reporting, if you'd like to follow certain court cases in the North Georgia area, let me know. We have different. You can follow any different direction. What I'm saying, let's see, we got school board, we got board of commissioners, we've got court system. We've got a lot of things you could follow, community, if you want to do it and be involved as a reporter. 9:54 this morning, we're going over to the Gilmer Arts. Okay, we're going over to the Gilmer Arts, and we're going to have a ribbon cutting today for their new playhouse. I'm excited about that. I look forward. It is sold out. Just another note that if anybody tells you that Congressman Doug Collins was there, and it was private. It is not a private event. It is their network luncheon for the month. And what they do is you have to sign up and pay in advance based on the number of people for the room. So it did sell out a couple weeks ago or several days ago, so it is not a private. It is not private. One more thing with the Mueller, FBI, and Manafort. There's a thought that Manafort, they may be squeezing Manafort into submission to the point that maybe he will give up information concerning Donald Trump and his family. The deep state will not stop until they bring the Trump family and every one of them down. They want to collapse it. Because Donald Trump is not sitting around waiting to hear from other people other than Americans out there what's really happening in the world. He's not waiting to make his comments. He's not waiting to say America will be great again. Wisconsin does not have the votes in the Senate to cut the deal with Foxconn. They don't have the votes. You may be losing Wisconsin Senate, may be just nosediving the Foxconn deal on purpose to try to make the president look bad, but they might not have enough votes. And I don't think, Doug Collins says, Congressman says, yes, it will happen, but I just believe that they will not find 60 votes for basically anything. Today's Thursday, right, Sam? So it's Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. So tomorrow, folks, we will be at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge. You don't want to miss us there. We start with Ask the Doc, Dr. William Whaley, but Dr. Raymond Tidman will be with us tomorrow. Dr. Whaley is traveling, and I got a message last night that Dr. Raymond Tidman will be with us, and I can't wait for that. I always enjoy when Dr. Tidman, and we'll find out. We'll ask Dr. Tidman how long. That's our question. One of our doc questions will be, how long did it take you last Friday to show Dr. Whaley all the bells and whistles in that new truck? There you go. There's a question. But Dr. Raymond Tidman will be with us tomorrow. Oh, at 8:30 we have a special guest. We have Nathan Fitz. Nathan Fitz is a candidate for City Council. He'll be joining us, so he'll be joining us tomorrow morning. And then we have the all-star panel, Bruce and Rick, and I think Jane is traveling, so it might just be the three of us, but the all-star political panel where we go over everything throughout the week and we give our opinion of what's going on. And at 8:45, our Pet of the Week, Humane Society of Blue Ridge Pet of the Week. Rusty will be our Pet of the Week tomorrow. We already know. I tell you what, that rounds out. And then what do I do after the Pet of the Week? And the show's over. We wrap up. What do we do, Sam?
Tupelo tea.
That's right. We order our tea and we relax for a minute. Folks, I'll see you tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. I'm going over to the Playhouse, Gilmer Arts, and I'm excited about that ribbon cutting today, and everybody going to be over there. And this afternoon, I might go up Fannin County and wander around the courthouse hallways, see if anything's going on. I usually hear a thing or two up there. And don't forget, Monday, we will, let's say this, we'll do it at 8:30. 8:30, we'll do our Blue Ridge City Council hashtag Fannin Cartel, hashtag, let's see, we got to get some hashtags going. Look for our hashtags. We'll get them out there. I'm your host, BKP. I'll be back tomorrow morning, 8 o'clock. Take us out of here, Sam.